Hey, what's going on, everybody? Gaijin Guinea Pig here. Today's video, a little different than the usual music video reaction. I'm going to be talking a bit about how to get started in the world of acting here in Japan. Now, before I get into the meat and potatoes of everything, a little preface saying that the information contained here within does not guarantee you're going to book any roles, get any leading parts in any movies or TV shows or anything like that. So, don't come at me and say, Jason, why didn't I book that leading role in that TV series? I don't know. I do think, however, that this information will help you get started in the world of entertainment here in Japan. And I'll break this video up into 4 different parts. The first part, how I got started with acting here in Japan. 2, second part, how you can get started in the world of acting here in Japan. 3, what to expect once you are in the world of acting here in Japan. And maybe you have booked that part, hopefully. 4, I'll show you a few images, some clips from different projects that I've been involved with, just so you know that I'm not just pulling this out of thin air and have no idea what I'm talking about. All right, so let's get into it. How did I get started with acting? Well, that goes back to when I was probably in my teens, and I was actually a really shy guy, but I was always interested in acting. So I felt like, how do I close this gap between being very introverted, very shy, yet wanting to be in front of the camera and perform and all this other stuff? Like, that's a pretty big gap to bridge. So the best idea that I could come up with was to enroll myself in acting classes, both theatrical and in front of the camera. And I learned a lot about acting during that process. And I also felt like it really helped me come out of my shell a bit. Just stop being so self conscious. It really helped me. Fast forward to me coming to Japan in October of 2023. I thought, well, maybe, and I've heard internet rumor that foreigners like me can get roles in TV shows and movies, even if it's just as an extra, a background actor, if you will. I'm okay with that. I just want to have that experience of being on a major production, being on set. I want to be a part of that energy. So I started doing a little research. I came across a very helpful blog on Gaijin Pot. Most people that are very interested in Japan, relocating here, studying here, they know about Gaijin Pot. It is a online resource for foreigners living in Japan. Kind of covers all the bases like studying here, working here, where to find an apartment, etc. Just useful tidbits like how to get started in acting. So yeah, there was a blog that I read on Gaijin Pot, and I'll try and bring it up here actually. Okay, so this is actually the blog that I came across, and it is Acting in Japan, Where to Start. Author is Caleb Bryant, and this article was printed or posted February 8th of 2023. I ended up coming to Japan in October of 2023. It felt very timely. He gives some great advice about the major steps. Be in Japan, be eligible to work. That is important because if you don't have the proper permission to actually do acting work from immigration, well, that's a no-no. Then how to join an agency. He lists some agencies on here, about 5 or 6. There's various agencies out there. A lot of the work overlaps. Step 3, scheduling and availability, the importance of making yourself available. I'll go into that a little bit. But yeah, it was a really interesting article. It set me on the right path, and I will provide a link to this in the description so you can read it at your leisure. So I read this article, and I sort of hit the ground running right when I get to Japan. I'm on a student visa, so as a student, you're allowed to work part time up to 25, maybe 28 hours a week, I want to say. And it can be pretty much any kind of work as long as it's not illegal, anything involving adult matters or gambling, things like that. So I look over the agencies, I send them an email to register and apply. They get back to me with interest. I first have an online interview with the agency. They want to get to know me a little bit. They want to know what my goals are, my schedule, etc. They want to explain the rules of how everything works. Then I go to the actual agency in person. They take some photos that they use on their website to help promote you to their clients, and you kind of meet the staff, the people that are working on your behalf to find different roles, and then that's it. You kind of just wait for email correspondence from the agency. They'll send you these emails that say, hey, this is a role that we're looking for. Would you like to submit for it? And the audition process is usually just based off of your photo. They usually want a recent selfie or a full body shot, most of the time, both. And then they submit those photos to their clients. And then the clients decide whether or not they can use you in the background or as an extra. Most of the work is background extra work. And my agency was pretty good with submitting me a lot of stuff from the beginning. That being said, just because you get a lot of emails and all these projects coming your way, most of them you're not going to book. The odds are not necessarily in your favor. They're often just looking for these broad ranges of background people, so like 18 to 45-year-old looking people of any nationality to fill out a party scene or something like that. But most of the work is going to be background or extra stuff, which was fine for me because, like I said, I just wanted to be a part of the production. I wanted to be on set. I wanted to have that experience. And yeah, that Gaijin Pot article really helped me out and really put me on the right path. And like I said, I'll leave the link for that in the description so you can reference it as well. I think it's really helpful. And funny enough, the guy that wrote that article, this is to show you how weird the universe is and how small this world actually is, ended up working at the language school that I signed up for when I came here. I never met the guy, I didn't know him at all, but I knew him from his picture on that blog. And I saw him and I was like, what are you doing here? How are we running into each other right now? What is going on? Are you the guy that wrote that blog? And he's like, yes, I am the guy that wrote that blog. I literally ran into him just like in person, face to face. The universe is strange, folks, but sometimes you have to take it as this was meant to be. So, yeah, that's how I got into acting in Japan here. It just kind of happened as I landed. I prioritized it. I hit the ground running, and the agency that I'm with was just really proactive and really on top of the game. And they were like, "Yo, try this, try this, try this," and I just submitted for as many things as I could. Which I should mention, the scheduling that could be make or break for a lot of people because none of the scheduling is going to work around you. You have to accommodate them, right? Like these are big productions. They need you at a certain time. If you can't do it, then you can't do it. But if you're always telling the agency that you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, keep in mind that you may become less of a priority for them because you kind of become the person that's always saying no. And they're going to be a little more hesitant to keep submitting work for you. So your experience may vary based off your availability, but being as flexible as possible is going to benefit you greatly. So I would just say regarding the agencies that are out there that really cater to foreign talent, gaijin talent, whatever you want to call it, there's a good handful of them. Some are bigger than others. The two biggest are Freewave and Remix. A lot of the work overlaps. So if you do happen to be signed with both agencies, you might see a lot of the same jobs coming from both of those agencies, and usually all the details are the same. Just go with whatever feels right in regards to the agencies. As far as I know, all of the agencies listed in that article are legit. There's no reason to feel like anybody is taking advantage of you. Nobody should ever ask you for any money at all for anything, right? They're working on behalf of you to submit you to these projects. And if you book it, they get a cut of that. And that's just naturally how the business relationship goes. But I think that if you go with any of those agencies listed in that article, they will be able to accommodate you. I mean, everything is based off of your appearance here, whether you like that reality or not. When it comes to the background talent or the gaijin talent, the foreign talent, 9 times out of 10, it's based off of how you look. And that's why so many of the jobs that they send you, the audition process is just based off of your photos. They're just going for a look. As I mentioned, I was lucky enough to get a role where I actually had a script with some lines. And on the set, I was actually doing those lines, but later on, they overdub it with Japanese voiceovers. So you do your homework, you remember your lines, but it feels a little all for naught at the end of the day, but that's just how it goes. Let's say that you book a job, whether it's on a commercial or a movie. I think what you should expect is that it is not glamorous. It's not like you're treated like royalty or anything like that. Some people have that misconception that just because you're on a film set or a commercial set, TV set, that you are somehow treated like higher than other people. That is only the case if your role is larger. Basically, the bigger your role, the better you're treated. And if you're just in a background actor or an extra, you're kind of just sitting around for most of the day. It's a lot of hanging out, waiting for your scenes. Not glamorous at all, but that's fine. I'm not looking for glamour. I'm just looking for the experience. And the experience is great most of the time. I really enjoy meeting people from all different walks of life, and that is definitely a way to do that. There's so many background extras, people from so many different countries and cultures, and everybody has an interesting story. And most of the time, people like getting to know one another, just hanging out on set. And I've made a lot of really nice people and really great contacts that way. So, networking, also a very big part of the entertainment industry in general. And the pay is not great. I mean, it's fine. I'm not complaining. I don't do it for the money necessarily. Again, I'm a more of an experience man. I love these experiences. Most of the pay, I think the minimum is around 14,000 yen. I don't know what that exchange is based off of where you are in the world, but I think that's almost like $100 US. That's like the minimum that I've seen. And it can go up based off of different conditions, such as how many hours you're on set. There's usually an overtime rate if you're over 8 hours. Some of the bigger projects, the bigger brands, they're going to pay a little more, especially if it's more involved of a shoot. Like if you have to travel to a different location, maybe stay overnight in a hotel, which I've done. So the pay will go up by that, but none of the paydays have ever been like some windfall of cash, right? I'm not getting rich off of this by any means, but it's all been fun for the most part. There's a couple of things that I've worked on where the conditions, the elemental conditions weren't great. Like it was a cold day, really windy and rainy, and I was playing like a soldier where I was in this cave and the cave was really cold and it's just a lot of standing around and waiting for the shots. And yeah, your feet get sore, you're cold, but you just kind of deal with it, right? So maybe this sounds like something you'd be interested in. I think if you're like me and you're just looking for experiences and not necessarily your way to break into stardom here in Japan, it's a great way to go. It's a nice way to earn a little pocket money. It's a great way to meet people, like a really great way to meet people. And you get to see some cool stuff. Like it's kind of fun being on the sets of these projects, and I've seen a few celebrities here and even exchanged a few words with some celebrities here in Japan. And for me, that just gives me stories to tell people. I like these experiences because it's something to talk about and it's a fun memory for me. That being said, I will now talk about some of the experiences that I have had. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I hope you've learned a thing or two so far. The first thing I ever did was a commercial. Again, I was an extra for a construction company. I was able to meet and exchange a few pleasantries with the actor Takeru Sato. I would think most people, at least overseas, know him best for the Rurouni Kenshin series. Really an aura farming type of individual. Like the second he walked on set, everybody turned their head and noticed it. He's a small guy, very slender, but the aura was real, and the coolness was undeniable. We did a construction commercial. Like I said, it was a Roman gladiator theme, and I was standing next to him and the other main actor, just as a crowd member, pumping my fist. And I'll show this footage, obviously, so you can get a better idea of what it looked like. I also had the honor of being part of this campaign for Fukushima Prefecture, which, as you know, has been going through it ever since the major earthquake in 2011. And I mean going through it in the sense of rebuilding its image a little bit and making people feel comfortable with even traveling to that part of Japan again. But yes, there was a promotional video. Uh, I want to say a bit like a travel campaign, like, hey, come to Fukushima. We got a lot of stuff going on, that kind of vibe. And I was a part of that. I got to see a lot of really nice areas in Fukushima. I got to experience some archery, see the castles. That was a shoot that required me to take the Shinkansen, that's awesome. The agency covered the price of those tickets, hotel, everything's covered. So for me, that one felt like a mini vacation that I didn't have to pay anything for, even though we were filming. Like that was just a really wonderful experience. Also, I've been in an IT commercial where I was just sitting in the crowd. Again, another audience member type of background role where I'm cheering for the main actress as she delivers her lines in English. Most recently, premiering on Amazon Prime globally was the Silent Service movie, the sequel, Battle for the Arctic Ocean, where I played a naval officer. It was just supposed to be an extra role, but I had a really unexpected but very cool experience where the director and his assistant they come over to me. I'm at the craft services table stuffing my face, and they start asking me some questions out of nowhere. Almost like a mini informal interview, like, "Hey, what's your name? Where are you from? Blah blah blah." And I realized later that they're just listening for my accent and whether or not they feel like I can deliver these lines because the assistant comes back and he says, "Oh, the director actually wants to give you some lines." And, I proceed to crap my pants because mentally I am not prepared to deliver any lines. I just thought I was going to be an extra for the day. But we switch into game face mode and I have these lines and it goes over really well. I did mess up my line. Like these things will happen. Everybody's watching me. I totally flubbed my line, but we pushed forward. We got through and they ended up using my line in the movie, which was amazing. I fully expected it to be on the cutting room floor, but it was really cool to have that. And some of my family and friends back home were able to watch it because, like I said, it was on Amazon Prime globally, and they were pretty hyped for me. Also, NHK Dark Side Mysteries, which is a supernatural sort of sci-fi esque themed show it's a reenactment drama show. They tell stories of supposedly real things that happened, and they use a lot of foreign talent, a lot of gaijin talent to recreate these scenes. And I was in one episode where there was the Heaven's Gate cult. I played one of the cult members, you know, cool, I guess. But even cooler was I got to play one of the cult members that decided he'd had enough of this crazy stuff after learning that he would have to take his own life in order to ascend into the next stage of the Heaven's Gate. That was a cool episode to be a part of. A really fun day on set. Really great people. Again, I just met great people. And then NHK had me back for another episode of Dark Side Mysteries. The theme was about immortality and characters throughout history who claim to have been immortal. I was actually the main character, which, made my ego feel good, uh, playing a character called the Count of Saint Germain, who, again, claimed to be immortal. And that day, they had me in the craziest costume and makeup, and the wig was too small for my head. It looked hilarious when I saw the end result on TV. I think I laughed the entire time, but I'll show a few clips of that now. 'You saw the wig, right? That thing was way too small for my head. In between takes, the guy working on my hair, he kept having to run over and fix my hair every single time. The wig was just too small and it wanted to just pop off my head. Well, plus I have a big head. And then most recently, I filmed a Dunlop commercial for the tennis rackets. I got to play the linesman on the side of the match that was taking place. That hasn't aired yet. And then I did a commercial for Murata Electronics where I played a doting father to an adorable girl that was interacting with a robot at an American themed diner. I don't really have any footage from that or the Dunlop commercial because they haven't aired yet. And that's another thing. Keep in mind that if you ever book any of these jobs, don't put any of this stuff online until the project has aired. If you break that rule, then the agency's probably going to drop you. It's going to be big trouble for you. Nobody's going to want to work with you. That is their rule. Most of the time, they don't even want you to take any photos or any videos while on set because there's been too many instances in the past where people can't help themselves and they post it on social media. You have to wait until the project has aired. And that's it. That's just some of the experiences that I've had. I think if you've ever been interested in acting, if you do acting in your own country, you plan to come to Japan for whatever reason, and you want to keep that party going, or if it's just something that you've always been interested in and you feel like now's the time now that you're in Japan, or maybe you just wanted to hear about my experiences personally. Whatever it is, I hope that this was informational, somewhat educational, somewhat entertaining. Any of those things I would be thrilled with, but I hope that it helped you out regardless in any of those ways. Of course, I would love to hear your thoughts on anything in this video, any of your acting experiences that you've had. Who knows, maybe you're also here in Japan doing these jobs and you just want to talk about it. Whatever it is, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will definitely reply to you. Also, ways to support my channel are listed in the description, including Patreon, because I do full album reactions over on Patreon, plus that Gaijin Pot link to how to get started in acting. I'm definitely going to leave that down there. Check that out. But as always, thank you so much for helping my small channel grow. Thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one.